ooh, I'm a psychic. I know what's going to happen next because I'm all knowing, all powerful. No!
We're getting advanced here. I'm going to say it. You don't have to.
It's like, a dog every morning waking up, confirming, visualizing that it's a dog before it can be a dog.
That's all nonsense, all right? You're thinking too much. I said it.
Hello, beautiful friends.
Hey!
Nobody in this appearing world can give you permission to be that which you already are. You see, it seems like we can teach you. It seems like you can get an answer from somebody else of what you are or what this is.
Yeah.
And it seems that way with this video as well. But these are really just reflections and confirmations of what you intuitively know. So awakening is not about learning who you are. It can't be. You can't learn who you are. Because guess what? You learn to forget that which you are, you could say.
Interesting.
So we were conditioned to be a contracted person. You could say to be a victim, to feel separate, to feel unworthy, insecure,
I know,
That was learned, conditioned.
So we're conditioned to get away from our open nature or expanded, connected nature. We've been propagandized, dare I say. It's a tragic situation to be in, and all of society is forcing us to solidify the ego and completely identify with our behaviors and our body and our mind and so on and so forth. And we can never really get beyond that until we're told. But even when we're told, that's not really doing anything for us because we have to listen. When do we start listening? When do we give ourselves permission? Do we need another person externally to give us permission? Well, luckily we have Anna Brown here with her loving energy. She's very energetic and she's very, it's inspiring, it's inspirational for us to go out and meditate and see the thing for ourselves. But really her words can't do anything. We have to give ourselves the permission.
So what you are is not a condition. That's why you can't learn it, because learning is about knowledge.
Yep.
Which means the noggin.
The noggin. It's so bad. We have the idea, right? We have the ideal of knowledge, and we always think of it in that one particular way, intellectual knowledge, and we want to get beyond that. You will never know it in that way. If you want to know who you are, this knowledge is not that sort of knowledge. It's not limited to this sort of thing, and it's not something that you can learn or can become because it's already there. It's ever pervasive, and the way that you interact with it is completely different from the way that you interact with your normal, typical, traditional knowledge. So you have to just throw it out. Knowledge is not going to be coming this way. No.
So there's nothing wrong with knowledge. It's beautiful.
It's great.
It's just not what we're talking about here. And it's why the person gets so irritated of why it can't grasp this. Because it's not about knowing.
Not about knowing.
You could say it's about the dissolvement of the one who wants to know this intellectually. It never will. It never will.
Never.
That's why you're not comfortable walking around with all the quotes and all the books in your head and all the guru's pointers. It's not comfortable to have a library in your head of what non-duality is or awakening is. It's very uncomfortable. You can talk to your non-dual cats and your spiritual cats about, what you've learned. And you can talk about it. But what we're speaking about here, the mystery, what so many want to call God, actually cannot be put into words, but it hides in the words.
Yeah, and it's so unfortunate when we get caught up with our language and intellectualisms, right? It's a lot of fun to talk about this stuff. It's a lot of fun to have friends who are into spirituality and non-duality and God consciousness or whatever fancy words you want to use about it. And we can talk about it, and that's really great. It's a lot of fun. Then we don't want to get too caught up talking about it, expressing it, trying to put it into words, confining it into words, because unfortunately in this space, we get confused sometimes into thinking that what we talk about is more real or more it than the actual experience of it, right? It'd be like if somebody were describing music theory and they thought that that was more real than actually like loading up some Beethoven and playing it, right? Of course not, right? You don't want to do a music analysis of your favorite music. You want to listen to your favorite music, and for some reason we get confused here and we get caught up in the labels and we never see beneath the labels and get to the direct experience. And even with people who have experienced the direct experience, me included, all of us, we talk about it with our friends and then we get caught up in the labels. We want to see beyond that, see through it, get to the actual experience.
Because it's not about the words at all, really.
Not about the words, no.
At all. It's about the energy of the words.
Energy. Okay.
Because this is all energy, baby.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Your energy.
Yeah.
And there may be an experience, though, of that infinite, fucking powerful energy taking the shape of an insecure seeker.
Yep.
So what?
So what?
So what?
I love it.
That seeking energy that we call personal identity or being a person, I really like to see like a seed. Okay? And so that seed, it feels very constricted. You know, it's planted under the ground. It has no idea what the hell is going on, right? But that seed already is the totality, right? So let's say there's a sunflower seed. That's the person.
Yeah.
That seed is already the totality. That's why awakening is organic, just like nature, just like planting a seed. That seed isn't there doing mantras and affirmations and vision boards and whatever else, trying to crack itself open. No. It's helpless in the sense that all of nature supports that seed through rain, soil, sunshine, wind, all of the forces. And so,
beautiful.
So the person is totally helpless. The seed is totally helpless.
And there's nothing you can do.
It's hopeless to seek. Hopeless for spiritual practices to bring you closer to this.
It's all happening for you. I just read a koan a couple days ago, and I really like it. The World Honorable One points to the ground. When the Buddha was walking with his assembly, he pointed to the ground, and he said, "This is a great place for building a temple." Indra took a stalk of grass and stuck it in the ground, and he said, "The temple has been built." They both smiled. Ha ha ha. This is exactly what Anna's talking about here. You just plant the seed and everything works for itself. And you don't do anything. The seed doesn't do anything. It just grows, right? But we say it grows. It doesn't grow. The sun shines on it. The rain pours on it. And it's all just going to work for itself. It's all going to do its thing. And you don't really need to do anything else. Plant the seed, let it go.
You could say spiritual practices exhaust the one who's seeking. Because you can't practice organic. You can't practice that which you already are. I like to joke around saying it's like, a dog every morning waking up, confirming, visualizing that it's a dog before it can be a dog.
True. How weird is that?
It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
But you see, the dog has no self-consciousness. The human has an illusory self-consciousness. That's the pickle.
That's the pickle.
And awakening is the end of self-consciousness, which is highly threatening for the me. And so you could say awakening is when the seed cracks. Naturally, spontaneously, without someone's personal will and volition trying to create it. So going deeper, what do I mean by the end of self-consciousness? There's no one there who sits and reflects about the choices they made, if it was right or wrong, if they could have done better, made a better choice, or the whole reflecting and bullying oneself, or projecting, or just annihilating oneself due to whatever is arising.
Don't do that.
There is no free will and choice.
Don't bully yourself. Don't bully yourself. Everything is okay. Everything is fine, okay? Life has been happening, and it's been happening in what you think is your perspective, and that's okay. That's all right. You don't need to add more negative karma or no more negative emotions to your own circumstance. It's a fine thing. Let it play out. Things are going to play out, and you'll get somewhere. Let it happen. Just let it play. Let it roll. No need to be a bully to anybody.
What is appearing?
Especially not yourself. You are yourself. Why would you be mean to yourself? I understand why you would. I'm not trying to be dumbfounded by it. I've been there as much as everyone else, but don't be mean to yourself. Don't be a bully to anybody, but don't be a bully to yourself. You are yourself. Treat yourself like yourself.
Ever seemed to be a choice, a mistake, or a miracle was perfection. And so many ask me, Anna, how is suffering? How is abuse? How is trauma? How is adversity? How is that perfection?
We're getting advanced here. All right, we're getting advanced here. So we have to remember perfection, love, whatever. If you see the entire world as perfection, if you see the entire world as love, if you see the entire world as pure goodness radiating, and deeply radiating in every experience. It's a tough one if you're not familiar with this idea, if you're not familiar with it. For training purposes, you want to be able to adopt this idea that everything is perfect under any circumstances. You don't have to. You don't have to. It's not necessarily true, but it's a great training. And when you do it and it feels like everything is perfect, it's going to feel real good. Highly recommend it. Please give it a shot. But you know, it's a tough sale, right? If we're talking immediately about all the negative things in the world and all the suffering that can come about and then say that's perfect. We don't want to force that onto you. It's an option to take up, and it's much better than the option that you have currently. I'm going to say it. I said it. All right. It's much better. You definitely want to adopt this worldview that everything is perfect, but you don't have to. It's not necessarily true. It's a good training, but this is advanced. It's perfectly valid to let go of all spiritual practice. Yep. Perfectly valid to keep doing spiritual practice. Yep. The former isn't more right than the latter. Both work differently in different individuals. Not just one and not the other one can do, but you can do simultaneously too. Oh, both simultaneously. Yeah. It's really dropping the attachment to your spiritual practices. The most obvious expression of dropping your attachment to the spiritual practices is to not actually do the spiritual practices. Okay, it makes sense. Fair enough. That's not the only expression of not being attached to your spiritual practice. You can very much not be attached and be completely devoted to your spiritual practice. Unfortunately, you could also have the most obvious expression of detaching from your spiritual practice and be so attached to it. So attached to it. And you don't want to get caught in that trap where you're attached to your spiritual practice, but you're just trying to like outwardly look like you're not attached to anything. You're like forcing yourself to avoid all the things. I mean, that's a tragic, unfortunate situation to be in. You gotta really pay attention to your own experience and really be honest with yourself. And when you're doing your spiritual practices, are you doing it? It's hard to put into words, but you don't want to be attached. That doesn't mean you don't have to do it. It doesn't mean you need to avoid it. It just means don't be attached. And feel the love in every single circumstance. All right, what are we getting here? With the traumatic circumstances, sometimes it's very challenging. It's advanced teachings here. Okay, but we're learning. What do we do? Bad circumstances all abound? Is it all loving? Is it all perfect?
It is. Your mind will never understand that though, because we're talking about infinity, not finite. We're talking about infinity. Because what we call a mistake or an adversity or something that should never have happened was leading you, so to speak, to the awakening or the dropping of the veil. See, in this story here, the character of Anna, lots of trauma, lots of drama, lots of, woohoo in the story. But it was just a story.
Yep.
Just a story. And just like you go to a movie to watch a character develop, so to speak, and watch, the whole story develop and blossom and unfold. Yeah, you're not watching this flatline character. Boring. This is unconditional love story, so to speak, and it's going to show up how it's going to show up because it knows what you need to drop that illusory veil. True. That really isn't there.
True.
It's just a misunderstanding that there's a veil there, that there's an ego there, that there's a sense of separation there. You see, just like the seed, it's not actually even separate. It's already that totality. The seed doesn't have self-consciousness, though. So it doesn't sit there and go, oh, I'm not a sunflower. No. Doesn't have that ability.
Nope.
So awakening is a seamlessness. There's not two in the brain anymore. There's not two going on inside, meaning there's not this voice in the head that's talking to something within the body. That two-way street is annihilated into this. It's very immediate, very spontaneous, very unknown, very innocent. You never know what's going to happen next. Awakening is not about being like, ooh, I'm a psychic. I know what's going to happen next because I'm all-knowing, all-powerful. No! This is innocence. Pure spontaneity. Anything can happen. You may be hit by a car. Who knows? Anything can happen, you see? But the me believes awakening is like the shield, right? Like where you're in a Pope-mobile or something and nothing can touch you. In a sense. That's what the me wants. It wants a cushy life.
Oh, yeah. We all have these ideas of what awakening is. And one of my ideas is being wacky like her. Oh, my God. I love her energy. She's crazy. Amazing. Yeah, you have these ideas of what it means to be enlightened and what qualities you think you should have. Throw them all out, man. Throw them all out. That's all nonsense, all right? You're thinking too much if you think that you need to be in a particular way. Everything as it is already perfect. That's what you find out when you adopt the worldview that she's pushing out for us to understand and feel and really deeply grasp and deepen to the most. It can be gone to a very, very strong degree, and it's beautiful and recommended highly for everybody. You might feel a little bit more free. You might feel a little bit more bouncy. You might feel a little bit more spacious and loving and loose, and it's so beautiful.
Which is a prison cell life, okay? What we're speaking about here at The Awakening is life full the fuck on, which means anything can happen. You can attract a disease, so to speak. There can be a beautiful job offer, a move, a new relationship blossoming, right? Or you get contacted and you find out you've, lost a loved one. Hey guys. Anything can arise in the quote-unquote awakened reality or the organic reality. It's not the end of sensations. It's not the end of a dream. It's not the end of the story.
Crazy.
You can say it's lucid dreaming.
Lucid dreaming.
But there's no one there who's controlling, manipulating, or who feels like a victim to whatever's arising. Hello, Rita. Hello, Ruth.
Is she talking to animals?
For example,
chickens.
A couple months ago, I lost 3 pets in 2 months' time. Didn't actually lose them, but their characters dissolved.
Let's unpack that for a second. Oh, I love it. She didn't lose the pets. Their characters dissolved. What a weird way to put it. I wonder if she ate them. Okay, maybe that's not appropriate. Maybe it is. I don't know. Sometimes these things can be insensitive. I'm not sure if it was or was not. Okay, the pets lost their character. They have transformed their states into something else, and maybe they were planted and whatever. I love it. I love this so much.
And there was sadness that arose.
Aww.
But it was hugged by spaciousness, by neutrality. You see?
Yeah,
it's not the end of a story.
Oh,
it's not the end of a story. It's the end of the one who's trying to control and manipulate the story to get what they want out of it.
Yeah.
You see? When death arises, death arises. And sadness may come with that. But there's no one there going, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? Why does life hate me? That is the end. It's the end of all of that. But sadness can arise. Celebration can arise. Mourning. It's natural. But again, the sense of separation lives in this fantasy that none of that will appear. No, anything can appear, there's just no attachment. Am I right, Rita?
You're right.
Am I right, sister? Anything can appear. When I was seeking, when I was deeply identified with the story, I truly thought awakening was like this bubble. It's not. The me's the bubble, and it pops. And there's just spaciousness. But within that spaciousness, anything can arise. It just doesn't stick anymore. There's no one there carrying a backpack of the traumas and the dramas and the stories and the ancestral lineages and everything that's occurred in their apparent story and apparent life. You see, because I'm not denying anything. This whole message is being in the world, yet not of it.
There's no denial.
There's no one pulling back from life, observing and detaching, and there's no one clinging and hoarding to life and being codependent. It's this evenness. It's this middle ground of neutrality
all
that I really can't describe.
Hard to describe, true.
But it's truly the inability to look away. And so whatever arises, it's just full on. Sadness is full on. Joy is full on. Gratitude is full on. Yeah. But I will say, with awakening, which that's all there is, doubt dissolves. Fear of death dissolves. Neurosis dissolves. And OCD does dissolve. And so it can seem like there's an upgraded you, and it's not really an upgraded you. It just seems like you're going to another level. It just seems that way because there's no longer this corset tightening you. making you feel like you gotta be this way or that way, or, it's just, And then finally, the character that life is manifesting as can be fully its abundant self. Because there is no right or wrong way to be, friends.
True.
You're a fucking snowflake. So, trying to contort and conform yourself to what you think awakening is a denial of the absolute magic of totality that is appearing as a you and a me.
You need to be accepting, not denying.
But my friends, there's not one step to this. There's not even one breath to this. I always say this is closer than intimacy. You are that which you're seeking for. You're the seeker and the sought. And my friends, this will never be taught to you.
It's more direct than direct.
You're just never going to know this intellectually. It's an intuitive recognition.
I'd go even farther. It's not even intuitive. It's beyond intuitive. It's more intuitive than intuitive. It's so vastly different. It's just a different way of interacting with the world. It's a different way of understanding. Understanding is so different that understanding isn't even the right word. But you can have intuitive understandings. You can have your intellectual understandings. You can have your emotional understandings. You can have your aesthetic understandings. And this is just something that's not any of those things. It's completely different. And it's always been there. It's already there. You already feel it. You just want to know that you feel it. Stop wanting. Stop trying. You interact with it in a particular way, not with your mind, not intellectually. Go beyond that and you feel it. Oh, and it's so sweet.
And what I see so much of is the denial of the body.
Ooh.
The denial of mind, the denial of person.
Ooh, you are not your body. You are not your mind. This is true. This is true. You are something else. But this does not mean that you need to neglect anything. In fact, non-attachment should be, for a lot of people, it should be a bigger embrace of your mind and your body. It should be more care given to your mind and your body. This is very, very important. Some people, maybe they'll be very neglectful. They'll let things fly. I mean, if that's your nature, let it happen. But most people will be stronger in taking care of these things, and that is beautiful. That is necessary. You don't want to be clouded into thinking that you must start neglecting. One way of expressing non-attachment seems like neglect. That's the obvious form. Don't be attached to the most obvious form of something. You want to be free and allow things to happen as they may. Let them happen. Don't be neglectful.
We're not denying person. Again, there's no identification, yet there's no disidentification. It's a dance.
Beautiful dance.
Because the person is the mystery appearing as a person. Or if you want to say God, or if you want to say the universe.
Fancy words. Let them
it
go.
Doesn't care, because it doesn't have a mind to care.
Give them that fancy labels. Whatever.
But you're it. This is it. It's just not an it. It appears that way, though. And so if you're waiting on permission, if you're waiting on authority to come tell you it's time, it's never going to happen. Because there is no external authority. I'm just a confirmer, just a reminder, just a reflection of that, again, which you already know intuitively.
No authorities in this space. Beautiful.
Glory be, glory be, glory be to that which always will be. Life immortal, life eternal. Be well, friends.
Aww.
Take care.
Thanks so much, Anna. Wow, we love her energy. She's so great. She's so great. She's got this loving energy. She's a little wacky in the best possible way. You want to be like that wackiness. You want to get that wackiness in your system and just go crazy with it. Amazing. Guys, you don't need permission. In fact, you can't get permission. Waiting for permission won't help. Won't help at all. You gotta just feel it. Just feel it. There's no method. Just feel it. It's already there. Thanks so much. Unfortunately, she holds her comments. She keeps her comments off. So no comments on. We can't say all the great things that we want to say about her energy. I guess we'll put it in video form. Tea is what gives me permission to feel the perfection of the universe. Feel the perfection of a single sip of tea. Of course, I don't feel it as deeply as we could possibly feel it. Not yet, but I feel it rather deeply. And tea always gives me that opportunity, that reminder. But of course, everything is that reminder.